Hey there, welcome back to Elden Ring. Today is going to be a bit of a different episode. We're boss rushing, baby. I'm taking on a bunch of the foes that failed me before, and this is going to be a compilation of all of those takedowns. But first, in the last episode, we picked up a couple of upgrades. We've got our gigantic sword, the grafted blade greatsword that we're going to be working towards. Now, I asked people on YouTube and also people on Twitter when I can use that. Apparently, if I two-hand it, 27 strength is what I'm going to need to be able to wield this big boy. The claymore, though, I was worried about because I was scared of upgrading my items because I don't have an infinite amount of stones. That being said, I took to Twitter and asked, should I upgrade this bad boy? Apparently, they don't even share the same upgrade materials, so I can go ahead and upgrade the claymore as much as I possibly can, and with the smithing stones, and the grafted greatsword is only going to be using somber, which is incredible news. I was very anxious about using them, and I had a feeling I was never going to use them, but if I want to progress, I might have to. I only got it to +2 because I don't have that many souls on me, but +2 is still a pretty considerable improvement over what I was already using. The more souls I get, I'll come back. Instead of getting a level up, I will upgrade my claymore because that's just damage. Hey there, future post-recording Ross here. I've got some bad news. So I recorded 4 hours of playing Elden Ring yesterday. Super happy with how it went. Heart was pumping. Had a good time. Look at the recording, and I accidentally switched the screen after this part of the video. So there is no audio whatsoever, either mic or game audio. And I can't go back and do this again. So I'm going to dub over the rest of the video. I'm not going to pretend like it's the first time I've ever seen this, but regardless, I am so sorry if it sounds weird. There's one part where I face an enemy that sounds like Scooby-Doo, and I'm sad that you can't hear that. I will point it out for your own playthrough. If you continue watching from this point, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If it's too much for you, I respect that. So this guy was actually probably one of the hardest bosses I've fought so far. Small guys, fast attacks. It was tougher than I really wanted it to be. However, after probably 7 or 8 attempts, we finally managed to bring him down. Although, granted, it was not nearly as easy as I hoped it would be. Now, with that mad tongue down, we got to pick ourselves up a fur-calling finger remedy, which allows us to check for summons, and a taunter's tongue, which I still haven't checked what it does. That's +5 to our claymore now with the souls that we got. I went back to check on the NPC that originally sent me to Morn Castle to give her the word that her father would return. She's not doing so great. Oh well, moving on. I decided to check back in with the dragon that we died on a couple episodes ago, mostly because I've now got an actually decent upgraded weapon, and I had a good feeling that I would be doing a lot more damage to him. I was right. I was no longer just tickling him. I was actually now dealing decent amounts of damage. I was noticing that I was staggering a little bit more, and also noticing that he would jump out of the map and teleport away. Apparently that's fine though, because he teleported back to where he respawns, but his health didn't change. So I had to start the fight from like 2/3 HP instead of full HP. And I'm going to be honest with you, obviously it wasn't intentional. It feels like a bit of a cheese, but regardless, we killed him. We picked up the dragon's heart, which I will, granted, probably never use because I'm not that interested in incantations currently. But still, a good fight apart from the fact that it got kind of, I don't know, sequence broke or something. Like it like just reset for no reason. I don't know why it did that. We eventually made our way to the area that I said I was going to go to in the last episode. I finally found it. Ran down the pathway north of the dragon, found the 3rd church of Marika, and upon that hallowed ground we found the flask of physic, which was given to me, or told to go find, because there's apparently something you can put inside it that when you drink it, it makes you explode, but it does slightly more damage to the enemies around you than it does to you, which could be used for PvP or other fun stuff. I like it very much so. I decided we should try and take on Margaret again. Last time, didn't go so well, but it has been an awful long time. There's been a lot of character development since the last time I actually showed up here, and it can be shown in the levels of damage that we're dealing. 3 attacks, we've taken off like 1/10 of his HP already. I gotta be honest, I'm still not ideal at actually dodging his abilities. He's actually a little bit quick, but that being said, my sword art, my like Ash of War, is incredible. Being able to just right click and then take off that much HP in one swing is absolutely spicy. The fact that I've got some actual vigor upgrades now, along with like having more charges in my flask, and just like my flask healing slightly more because I have actually upgraded it now, it did make this fight infinitely easier. I would say that like this, even if you're not good at Elden Ring or Dark Souls, this is not a tough fight, provided that you actually like go out and get some items and don't just rush straight to the boss. If you rush straight to the boss like I did originally, you're gonna have a tough time. He's actually a very tough boss. He's a good boss, but he's a tough boss. But actually, he just happens to be a bit overskilled for early game. I guess the fact of the matter is, you're not supposed to rush to go fight him. You're not supposed to try and rush through it. You are supposed to explore, and there is many things that you can explore and many items that you can pick up. And quite frankly, once you have those items and once you've actually upgraded your weapons a little bit, you got some armor and you got some more HP and maybe some Estus shards upgrades, he's a bit of a walk in the park. Staggered him, death blowed him, it was a bit free, to be honest. Anyway, regardless, we pick up a talisman pouch, which allows us to have more than one talisman active at any one time, which is perfect because we have got a couple of things that are going to be like beneficial to us, like the twin blade talisman that's going to let us do more damage at the end of a string of attacks, and also the fire talisman that's going to let us take less damage, which would be great for dragons. And I really should have used that fire drake talisman or whatever it was called when I was fighting the dragon originally. But now we're in Stormville Castle, the next big area of the game, and by Jove, is it big. I did get a little bit stun locked on a pathway here. Enemies that really should not be killing me, but are in fact killing me. I walked into a room with the door walking behind me, and this is the area where like this guy sounds like Scooby-Doo. He goes in the background. If anybody has played this, please post a clip in the comments, because I guarantee nobody's gonna believe me, but he does laugh like Scooby-Doo, and I wish my reaction was not lost to time now, because I was laughing very hard whilst actually murdering this person. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I'm a little bit overskilled for this area of the game. The fact of the matter is, I upgraded a lot. I spent 10 hours in the tutorial area, and I was not doing nothing. I spent a lot of that time killing things, getting my souls up, getting my levels up, getting weapons that I might want to use. I think I got a pretty solid weapon in the claymore here, and also like I've accidentally been farming smithing stones, so like I feel like I'm pretty upgraded and I'm pretty strong. We picked up a cursed sword talisman, which allows us to I think increase damage on guard counters, but I still am not sure how to do that. I know how to do it in theory, but I can't do it in practice. We took a little walk along the battlements, and we jumped up, and then we jumped down, and we said hi to whatever this thing is in the catacombs of Stormville Castle. But after not dying and not falling, we found, I don't know if it's a secret area, but a little pathway that led us all over the place. We get a Storm Sword key, we fight the bird. I hate the bird. I hate all the birds in this game. Any flying enemy, I just hate them. Eventually it led us to a fog door that I'm still not really sure how to get through. It looks like I could use the Storm Sword key, but also I don't really see a place to use it. It does say try right, and you know what, I probably could have tried harder. Eventually we found our way back to around the start of the level. We open up the portcullis to open up a shortcut that I most certainly will never use, because I do not want to come in through that angle, because there are 50 ballistas lined around the outskirts of this pathway. And after fighting my way through a bunch of axe guys and about 50 guys with crossbows who were all shooting directly at my skull, I tried to take a side path that is probably the worst bullet hell game I've ever played in my entire life, and I hate this area. I had the privilege of dying to a big lion boy. I decided on the second attempt that I would just run through, because this very much looked like it was a boss fight area. The enemy wasn't even named, but it fought like a boss, and it had health like a boss. But we found a Mark of Grace, and we were able to sit down for a little bit, so we can actually fight him over and over without being interrupted. Eventually though, Jellyfish and I take on the lion and are victorious, and it ends up dropping us some consumables, but also a somber smithing stone, which is perfect for upgrading our big great sword that we haven't used yet a little bit later down the line. That's going to be 25 strength. We are certainly working our way towards that big sword. Now, running this direction, I thought, hey, you know what? It's only one giant. Why don't we try and fight him? One giant turned into two giants, and then two giants turned into two melee giants, and one with a gigantic bow and arrow that is absolutely blasting things at you constantly. So I decided, after almost dying like 3 times, to run past him and then panic teleport to wherever this thing was going to take me. I figured, hey, we've already used a Sight of Grace. We're not in too much danger of actually like losing any progress here. And it took me to a divine tower and a door that I could not open, so it was a dead end. So now the only path left to take was the path of most resistance, which was trying to get up this stairway with 4 different ballistas shooting at you, and every single time they hit something, they explode, whilst also guys are throwing firebombs at you. And just to cap it off, at the end of the road, there's 3 guys who are also waiting to block your path. Now, this is a good thing that you can't hear the audio, because I said a lot of things and a lot of swear words that I'm not necessarily proud of during this section of the game. It was tough, and after using every single throwing dagger I had in my inventory and still not managing to actually kill everything because it kept hitting the rock slightly in front of them, I finally managed to just ignore everything, dodge, run past, use the walls for like line of sight, and I made it through. Shortly after, we're fighting our way through a courtyard with everybody is either operating with a flamethrower, fire bombs, or a crossbow. This area sucks. I hate it. Granted, a lot of souls were gathered here. Lots of items that I can probably sell on, to be honest. Lots of crossbows were dropped. After that, we picked up a prophecy painting from one of the side rooms that I'm not really sure how it's used yet. Next to the boss room, we ran into a gigantic pot that, honestly, I kind of regret fighting, because it seemed like all the mimics there were just kind of chilling, and they had absolutely no issue with me being there. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Finally though, it was time to take on Godric the Grafted. I'm not really sure if I was equipped for this necessarily. I had to take off all of my clothes because I'll be honest, I forgot. I was testing out the greatsword if I could use it yet, and it seems like that wasn't possible. But he was tough. He killed me a bunch of times. Jellyfish and I couldn't quite seem to push the needle far enough wherein we won. And I'm sorry to say that we, of course we beat him! Absolutely, of course we beat him. What do you think this is? I ran in there, we summoned our jellyfish, we took straight to the battlefield. I've been told by friends this is a super hard fight on melee, but I'll be honest with you, I don't get it. It took me 7 retries to kill this guy, but that being said, that's all because I just don't know what his moves do yet. So enjoy this Elden Ring fight, narrated by me, but also all the sound effects are also by me in the background.